And for a closer look at China's big economic week, we're joined by Li Yong from Beijing. He is a senior fellow at the China Association of International Trade. Thank you so much for joining us. First, your thoughts on the goals for 2016 that came out of the Economic Work Conference, the supply side economics, continuing innovation. What are your thoughts? What was your biggest takeaway?
You're talking about the Central Economic Work Conference, right?
Yes, let's start with that.
I think the Central Conference has analyzed the past year, this year's performance, economic performance, establishes a base position based on which I think the next year economic policies is going to be delineated. And basically, I think we have identified five areas of the tasks that will be fulfilled next year, and I think the government also pointed to the direction of the fiscal policy, which is quite interesting as compared with the statement of fiscal policy last year. Last year, the fiscal policy is supposed to be proactive, but with strength. But this year is still proactive, but is going to be more strengthful. And in terms of monetary policy, I think this is monetary policy basically is going to be a stable, prudent, but should exercise more flexibility.
Well,
so these are the general direction. Yep.
I do want to ask you about that because China does want to continue to open up to the world. And so can you discuss the government's approach, as you mentioned, quality, stability, that's been keywords in the past, but now you said we're going to look at more flexible economic targets. Can you talk about that range?
I think in terms of the opening up and the economic growth target, I think this is going to be put in the context of the global environment in which China's economic development is going to China's economy is going to develop. Basically, this conference didn't really come up with a number of the GDP growth, but in terms of the international cooperation, I think the basic judgment is that China will continue to face a continued tight situation in the world market, but China will expand its opening up policy and will adopt proactive attitudes towards, for example, free trade agreements with different countries.
Let's now move to the two free trade agreements that took effect Sunday between China and South Korea, and then China and Australia. So talk to us about the significance of these two agreements, and how do these agreements fare into the 2016 economic outlook?
Basically, I think these two agreements are very important for China because firstly, I think the reduction of the tariff will reduce the cost of import and export for all the players in the three countries. And secondly, I think this is going to promote the flow of trade and investment and increase predictability and transparency of the investment environment, and also it will promote the free flow of goods, services, people, and even information. So it is very, and finally, I think it is most important. It is going to inject additional growth into their respective economy. For example, for Korea, the GDP is going to increase by at least 1.9% in the first 5 years and increase to 2.28 to 3.15 in about 10 years' time. And the situation with Australia is about the same. It will boost the GDP growth for about 0.7% for Australia and 0.1% for China. So in the next year, I think the trade volume between China and Korea and Australia is expected to increase. And that will, I think, help the economic situation in the respective economy.